Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to do part one or step one in this oil pastel printing project that you're going to be doing with your substitute. So I have this that I started just a little bit ago. I think the colors are ugly, but so I'm going to show you how to do this again with better colors. So let me first say that do not forget that you have to have your name on this first. So write your name before you do anything else. Now, I'm going to flip this guy over and use the other side. So the first step in this whole process is to take this square paper, take the oil pastels, and take a paper towel to completely cover this whole paper in colors. Now, we are going to be using black ink at the end of this whole process, so you are going to want to stay away from very dark colors, so use bright colors. Also, think back to our color wheel and what's going to happen if you use complementary colors right next to each other. You're going to get brown. So you can use them, but use them sparingly. Don't use them all over the place, or you are going to get kind of a brown mess, which is sort of what I did here when I was experimenting with this whole process. So I have this kind of teal next to this orangey color, and it turned like a yucky brown. So boo. So I'm going to stay away from those. Okay, so this is super easy, guys. All you need to do is pick a color. I think maybe I'll start with yellow this time. And you can start this anywhere you want in your paper. It's totally up to you. You can start it in the corner. You can start it right in the center. If you want to start this wherever, you don't even have to keep going in circles like I'm going to show you. I will show you a different example where I put random patches of color on the paper, and it all looks pretty cool. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start by making a circle of yellow here, and I'm pushing down pretty hard. I do want to cover a lot of that white paper, and I apologize, my paper is kind of dirty because I was working on a surface where I had previously done some oil pastel stuff. Okay, so now I think I'm not going to do a complementary color, but maybe I'll go into a green. And I'm going to go right around this center circle. And you can do thick bands of color, you can do thin bands of color, you can sort of go and work with some thick, some thin. It's totally up to you. So now that I have that, there's kind of like, it's a very sharp transition from the yellow to the green. So what I can do is I can take my yellow again, and I can go over that spot where these two colors meet to kind of soften that transition so it's not such a harsh line. Sort of blend them together. And I'm just going back around to really push down on this oil pastel. Okay, next color. Maybe I will go into some blue. And as I'm going around, I am overlapping my previous color. So you can see I'm kind of going over that green circle that I just made just a little bit. Okay, and now these two colors were fairly similar, so there's not a super harsh transition. I'm going to leave it like that because in the end we're going to blend all this together anyway. So now I'm just going to keep going around and around with different colors until this entire paper is filled up. So I'll pause my video. I will be back in a second when that is done. Ta-da! So now it's all finished in color. Now, the next step in this whole process is to take your paper towel and kind of blend things together. So what you're really sort of looking for is trying to get rid of those little patches of white paper that are poking through. So I did all of my coloring kind of in this direction. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction when I blend this together. So now I'm going to kind of go around my circle to blend this. So I'm kind of going this way. I'll do that here. Now when you're doing this, be very careful not to wrinkle your paper or rip your paper. I'm not pushing super hard. Now be careful of your edges. Don't forget about your edges because they will show up in the final piece. Now if we still have little bits and pieces of that white paper poking through, like I have some right here, that's not going to be a huge deal in the very end of this whole process, but we don't want a ton of those because they can be distracting if you've got this bright white next to color. Okay, there, I'm all blended together, woohoo. Okay, so now let me show you some other examples that I did. So this is, I started in the center and then I moved out. With this next one, I started up in the corner with my yellow and then I just kept going in this direction on my paper. This one is totally different. This one I made very random patches of color. So I started with this light blue, then I went around in a darker blue, and then I added some even darker blue, and then I went in with this very bright green. So like I said, any way you do this, it's totally up to you. Just make sure things are blended together and try to stay away from complementary colors. All right, have fun. I will see you again soon for part 2.